everybody, and welcome on in here. This is the fourth episode of season 2 of Fae Fam Talks, where I, Glamour Fairy, talk to content creators about their journeys through content creation and many more things. Today, our guest is our good friend here, Tidushot. I have found Tidushot through. I'm pretty confident it was Sugar Mama McNasty back in the day when I first started streaming. I think I'm not sure if I think it was just like a raid from Sugar, or I went into Sugar's stream with the whole Club Tortimer thing. I was very into checking out all the Club Tortimer members before they became a full team, and I did go into your stream at one point because I think you were shouted out, and I like checked it out, and I really liked it, and it was lots of fun. And then you asked me to be on your podcast about a year ago, 2 years ago. I don't even know
There,
anymore.
there's no way it was 2 years ago. Uh,
Then
what
one
wasn't
year
that?
ago.
Yeah, something's probably within the last year or so.
Yeah,
But time is weird right now.
it is. It is very weird. It's a very weird situation. um, but yeah, I found you through that, and now we are on the same Twitch team. We're both on Club Tortimer now.
We
Um,
are.
it's a fun thing, and I'm really excited to talk to you about all the fun things. Our topic today is going to be about gaming when you're older, which is a great topic. I really do think I say this about every topic that happens, but I love hearing what people want to talk about every single time. So this is going to be interesting. So before we keep going further, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I am Titus Shot. Contrary to popular belief, it's not Titus Hot. Uh, Titus Shot. I basically a variety streamer. Stream whatever I'm feeling like. I generally save one stream a week for Pokemon. And otherwise, like this year, I'm going through backlog games, but otherwise, it's whatever I'm playing at the time, DBD or Jedi Fallen Order right now, things like that. Uh, yeah, I've got a Pokemon website where I actually sell cards. I have two daughters, and a wonderful wife and three cats. So that's me.
That's a full house.
It is.
I love it. I love it. 3 cats, 2 daughters, and a wonderful wife. I love it. Um, Sorry. I love the idea of having so many cats right now in my head. I'm just like, yes, even though I was complaining literally right before the podcast. I was complaining about my cat being in my face and laying down on my keyboard 4 times before I finally just gave in and fed him. But
So you only have the one?
I just have the one because I wasn't supposed to be able to have the one. My landlord didn't said that we weren't allowed to have cats. But me, emotional, and I cried my way into it, and now I have a cat.
So
So,
if you move out there, you getting more for sure if they let you.
probably, yeah. The thing is, I think if we move out, we probably will end up like hopefully buying a house. And so then at that point, I could just have, 50 cats if I wanted to. Just start a little rescue thing with cats. I think it's a great idea, even though I'm highly allergic to them. So,
Oh, really?
yeah. My husband just said in the chat 3 at most. I can only have 3. Got it. So 5.
I'll
All
test
right.
those limits.
Right. So, with content creation, where did you start? Because like I know, how long have you been on like Twitch, and did you go straight to Twitch, or did you start on YouTube and then like switch on over?
Twitch was definitely the first. I started watching Twitch, I'd say 3.5 to 4 years ago, and it's been almost 3 years since I started regularly streaming. I did some test streams before that throughout the year that I started, which I always forget. This is 2021.
Yes.
2018, I think, August 2018, September 2018 is when I started consistently streaming. But before that, I did a couple. Uh, yeah, and that's when I started. And now I've got that. I've got YouTube. I've got the podcast. So I'm probably stretching myself thin, but uh, I've definitely expanded to a bunch of little things.
You're not quite a content creator unless you're, doing every single thing you possibly can.
Yeah, you sometimes you think it's like, should I do one thing really good or just dip my toes in everything?
Right. That's kind of how I felt too. I did the same thing. I was like, I'm going to just do Twitch. And then I'm like, well, if I'm going to do Twitch, I have to work on my social media. So I started working on my social media. And then when I got there, I started expanding further and went to YouTube. And I just been dabbling for so long. And now I'm being more and more consistent with YouTube that I have 3 videos a week coming out. And
Nice.
that just started about 2 weeks ago. Um, so I'm hopefully going to keep up on it, but like right now I'm just like I'm sliding through it and a lot of the content is like stuff from Twitch already, so it's kind of the same content.
Right.
Um but trying to make that exclusive YouTube content um is something that I'm working on for sure. Uh so you started consistently streaming in 2018 is what you said.
Yeah, that should be right. Yeah, 2018 August or so. I had my PS4, and so since it has the ability to stream, and I didn't have any of the other equipment, I was like, let me go ahead and give it a shot.
Oh
Yeah, you
yeah.
know, eventually got affiliate and started making a little bit of money here and there until I got enough to get a capture card and
Mhm.
a new PC and new camera, new mic, and here we are.
I love that. Yeah, we I always find it fun to hear about streamers going from, you know, having just the bare minimum and then expanding from there because of all of the stuff that people have done and helped them with and getting to affiliate and getting just like that little bits and pieces of money to help pay for um to pay for the equipment that you've been buying. So like I started out with my husband's gaming laptop, which I practically stole for an entire year before I bought until I bought my own PC. Um, with Twitch money, as well as a little bit of stimulus money, but you know, it is what
Right.
it is.
I was actually using my work PC when I first got my capture card because I didn't have, or my work laptop. I didn't have a PC or a laptop that could handle it because I don't PC game basically. So we at the time we didn't even have a PC. We had a laptop that did the bare minimum. So I just used my work one, which was pretty decent until I got my PC I'm using now.
Nice. Yeah, and just like watching people just kind of grow. I love watching people that you've been watching stream grow and like uh I don't know if you knew this, but the Club Tortimer video on Twitter, for you, I was the one that did it.
I thought
Um
it was, but I never got up to the gall to ask. Is like, was that glam? Because you were asking about like birthdays and stuff, so I thought you might be the one constructing those, or at least some of them.
Yeah, it's a kind of a combination of a couple of us, and I did yours, and when I was doing it, I was watching some of the old clips because I was compiling clips, and I'm like watching some of these old ones. I'm like, this is really cool to see these clips that had happened like a couple of years ago, and watching what you had done back then, and to compare to what you're doing now. It's really cool to see that, especially because content is different from when you first started. You were playing lots of. Um, Pokemon Let's Go,
Yeah,
because that was what was out, and then now you're playing other games like you were saying with like Star Wars, the Jedi Fallen Order,
yeah, that's what I'm playing right
and
now.
Dead by Daylight. You know me, I love my Dead by Daylight. I
Yeah,
literally in my nap before this, I was having a weird dream about Space DBD in person. In person.
that's funny.
I think I've been playing a little bit too much. When you start dreaming about it, it's almost too much at this point.
Probably, but you're gonna keep going anyway.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was thinking about it right after after this. I was like, I should probably play some.
Got to get in while those cakes are there.
Right? Um, but yes. So with content creating, where did your inspiration come from to begin streaming, to begin any content creation?
It's probably when I started watching, there was very few people I went to. I actually kind of focused more on some people that I met, and those people went away, and then I found new people. like the group that I always contribute is there's Tridention, Smart TV Gaming, Thor, Heck Yeah, and at the time Shiny Demi Nix. Now he's another blasphemy. But they were kind of like a small group of people who streamed, and I got to know them. And I thought, it'd be cool, if I did too, just be something fun to do. And honestly, to be social. I was never social when I was a kid. Not really. I kept to myself. Had very few friends. As I got older, I had even less friends, and I never went out and did anything. So I was like, Twitch is a good way. I've gotten to know people through Twitch. So if I start, maybe people will come in and I'll get to know them as well. And I've gotten to know so many wonderful people, such as yourself, Sugar Mama McNasty, that you mentioned before, Simply Press Start, and I couldn't even name them all because there's so many. And that's been my favorite part of the whole thing.
I love that. Yeah, it's really cool to see all these people and meet them and whatnot, because like I was kind of the same way where I don't have like IRL friends. I have
Right.
I have my husband. And that's about it. Like I have my sister and stuff, but she moved away this last year, and so like having Twitch to like have as a way to like create a community and then like gain those friendships is really fun and really cool. And although like there are ways where you can have issues like trying to find friends that actually mean to be friends, or if they're using you to keep going up in your platform or whatever, is a whole nother story. But like it makes it worth it when you have those friends, when you have those people that you can talk to and like hang out with and play video games with outside of streams.
Absolutely. I've had people actually come to me like because they were stressed out and they just needed to talk, saying they're in a bad mental state. And I've actually uh, I've been called uh, behind the scenes like the dad of Twitch. So a lot of people will just come to me kind of like not necessarily for like streaming and content advice, but just like in general about life and like because I want to say I'm a little bit older than the standard streamer is nowadays because it's
Mhm.
skews pretty young and I'd say mid 20s, early 20s, and
Mhm.
I'm mid 30s. So
Right.
uh, I just think people think I'm a little bit more life experienced and come to me, and I take that as a compliment, but always try to point them in the right direction if it's beyond me.
Mhm. You're like, I can only give you so much advice, but here's some like ways where you can maybe find another way to go towards.
Right.
I love that. I love that so much. Uh Sorry, my brain just kind of like I had a brain fart. I legitimately had a brain fart. um so your podcast, cuz you just had one today. I love that. You had you dealt with two podcasts in one day. You're like, "Bam bam, let's go."
That was
Um
not even a thing until earlier this week, honestly.
Oh, that's perfect. So where did you start with your
We might have to
podcast?
hold on a second.
Oh, that's fine.
Hi, come here. Ah, can you say hi?
Hi. Daddy,
Hi.
I need some help
Need some help?
opening this.
All right. Well, can you say bye?
Bye.
I thought she was asleep. I was
She
wrong.
had fooled you.
She really had. That was my eldest, Lily.
Such a cutie.
She is.
I mean, when the chat's like, "Oh,
That's usually what happens if she happens to sneak in. It's just like, oh my god. And they're like,
a
hi.
child." All right. So going back with content creating and whatnot,
Uh-huh.
is ooh, where'd it go? I had it right here. Um, do you have any goals for either for this year, because it is halfway through the year, well, a little bit further than halfway through the year now, um, but it is about halfway through the year. Is there any goals that you have currently, or are you just kind of going with the wind?
Uh, I mean, it's not. Not really as far as channel growth goes. I really should. I should kind of be like what you were saying, kind of have an idea of like I want to be able to upload like 2 a week to something to YouTube, or get this many. I'm not worried about followers or anything. Twitch partner is not an ultimate goal for me,
Hmm.
uh, and followers wouldn't matter for that anyway. I if I had a goal for that, I'd be like 800 before the end of the year, and I'm at like 778. So it's definitely in the realm of possibility. Uh, as far as anything else goes, most of my growth I'm hoping to get is actually with the website. Uh, trying to get so I have a distributor to get the cards for the website, but they've almost been sending me less over time, which isn't nice because I've been getting more and more people come in, and with less stuff, it sells out so quick. They start going other places, so I'm actually looking for more distributors there. Uh, and it's just to be more consistent, I think, and get back into the editing portion. I used to actually edit videos, and I haven't done that in months. So, yeah, just being more, you know, having more of a routine and getting a schedule down. I'm now that I'm actually back to work full time in the office. I was an every other day thing situation during the whole COVID
Hmm.
thing, and now I'm back in the office full time. So I have a regular schedule for streaming now, like these days specifically. Uh, and it's just moving forward with everything else. Having 2 kids makes it difficult, but not impossible.
Right. Because you never know when something's gonna happen.
Right.
Right. And with with your shop, for those that are in the uh, Twitch chat, I did just post it in the chat. If you're in YouTube or on one of the podcast platforms, it's just going to be in the description below. So check those out for sure. But your shop, where did you get the idea to do the shop?
So I don't know how much you know about what's been going on with like Pokemon and cards and whatnot, but during COVID, a lot of things happened. One, the supply was a little bit less because of manufacturing stuff. Two, nostalgia was at an all-time high. Well, actually, boredom was at an all-time high. People sitting at home, like, what should I do? And I don't know if they just started seeing YouTube and watching videos, or if they just pulled something out of an attic and saw stuff. But people really started to want to get back into collecting cards. It's like, oh, it's a nostalgia trip to go back and get Charizards and stuff like that. So more people were getting into the space. And then you had this thing with Logan Paul where he opened like a first edition Pokemon box and pulled a Charizard that was worth like a couple $100,000 or something.
Hmm.
And so everybody, there's people in it for nostalgic reasons, people in it for money, trying to earn a quick buck and flip things and whatnot. So Pokemon cards were hard to come by. Like you could go into the store and not see one for months because scalpers would come in or collectors would come in and just buy it all up. So, and I knew a lot of people in the Pokemon space based on my stream. So I was like, well, if I started watching videos of people who's like, this is how you go about opening up a store, not a physical store, but just a website. It's like you could actually have a list of distributors on the Pokemon TCG website. It tells you who the distributors are, gives you the phone number. So I started calling all of them, and most people actually weren't even taking customers, new customers at the time because it was so hard to get the cards. And I found one that was, uh, and so my idea was, let me see what I can get and then sell them at regular retail price, like, and not have one, people can find cards, and two, they can find them without paying 2 to 3 times the price uh, on things. Even now, there's stuff that is coming out next month that's new, and it's already above retail, even though it's not even out yet. So
Oh, jeez.
yeah, I do what I can to get at or below retail and to have as much as I can to get to people. And I found a small group of people who are really appreciative of it and just basically buy me out all the time, minus the stuff that's over there behind me anyway.
Yeah.
There's certain product that people didn't like so much, so it's probably going to end up on eBay or something. But yeah, I mean, it just did it because I wanted to help people be able to get cards when they couldn't at a fair price.
That's awesome. That's really cool because like you said, people do that all. It's kind of like with Animal Crossing with the amiibo cards.
Oh yeah,
When people were just like selling them like high prices or whatever, and like the Sanrio amiibo cards, and people were like buying so many of them when they were only supposed to grab two of them, and then would sell them for like way higher than the price that they were because they were sold out everywhere, so you couldn't get them anywhere. um you can only get them at Target.
Right.
So that's really cool that you were doing that specifically for that reason, for to help people out rather than trying to, make a quick buck like you said. um Although it helps, I'm sure, because
Yeah,
you're buying it
it's
at the
not like I'm
wholesale
making
difference.
right. It's not like I'm making $0, but I'm
Right,
not making what I could be making if I were selling at what everybody else is selling it at.
right.
But yeah, that's unfortunately a big thing right now. Like anything that's limited, PS5s did the same
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yeah.
It's
Seriously,
disgusting, but it's life.
it really is. Um, so since you said that you don't have too many goals, because okay, wait, I wanna touch base on what you said earlier because I think
Okay.
it's really important. You said um uh Twitch partner is not the I don't remember the word that you used, but essentially not the end goal. Um,
Right.
because I feel like a lot of people, when they start out streaming, they immediately go to, I want to get partner. Like they get affiliate, and immediately after they get affiliate, they're like, I want to get partner. And then
And
I'm
we all
like,
know it's not that easy.
exactly. And we're looking at this going, oh, no. Like I started out being like, I'm just playing games and being a dork on the internet. Um, and the idea of getting partner would be really cool.
Right.
But it's like you said, it's not the end all. It's that was the word you used. I'm pretty sure that's the word you used. But yeah, it's not the end all. It's not the thing that's at the very end where like everything's gonna be all hunky dory. After that, like there's so much more that you have to do with Twitch partner, and just having that on there, it's not like you're gonna be making a whole lot more than what you are as an affiliate, because you're still making 50-50. Um,
Right. It
because I
doesn't
had
guarantee you anything.
exactly, you still have to try to get those subscribers in, you still have to do all that other stuff. So like um I think it was really important for other people to hear that as well on here, from not just me but from somebody else as well, that Twitch partner does not mean that it's the end all be all on Twitch.
Gotta love technical stuff with streams.
Oh yeah, it happens, you know. It's always a thing that happens there. Like audio always has some sort of issue, which was what my issue was at the beginning. My captions weren't working. It happens.
It does. Far too often, but it happens.
It does. Um. Okay. I think I asked all of the content creation questions that I had. Um.
Oh,
So we're gonna go on and move to our topic. The topic that you chose is gaming when you're older. Um, so I'm gonna let you start off with that.
all right. To be fair, it's just something I kind of thought of last minute because it's hard for me to come up with a topic. As much as I ask other people to do so for mine, you'd think it'd be easier. But just random thought, I was just like, how are things different now than when I was younger, then through high school, then through college, and then
Mm-hmm.
after college without a relationship, then getting into a relationship, now married with kids. It's a lot of things change, but everybody has different experiences as well too. So for me, when I was younger, video games was about all I did. I said about not being social. I had some friends, but otherwise it was just, I had an NES and an S. Yes, I'm that old. Then a SNES. Then we N64, then PlayStation. I moved up. I've had a console every generation. I've had almost every iteration of the Nintendo handheld and the Sony handhelds and everything. Gaming is just always what I did. Uh, I continued through high school. Got a little less because I had a job since I was 14. Uh, then moved off to college, and gaming picked up a little bit because it was school, and then it was gaming outside of work. I had a little bit more freedom. And then you get out of college and you have a little bit more freedom because then you're not going to classes, you're just going to work. And then you get into a relationship. My first relationship wasn't until I was 26. In fact, my wife is the only person I've ever dated. So
we have that in common.
really?
Yeah, my husband is the only person I've ever dated ever.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, but yeah, I would, like I said, not being social, not ever going out. We did, we did Match.com, and yeah, it's been at this point. What year was it? We've been together for 7 or 8 years, and since then, so gaming died off a little because I having somebody in a relationship with, we'd go and do. She's not much of a gamer. She does do a little bit, but since she's not much of a gamer, we would tend to do other things. So it died down a little there, and then having the first kid, it really died down.
Of course.
Because sleep prioritizes over everything else at that point.
Yeah.
For anybody who's not a parent, you'd be surprised on how much you can do on so little sleep. And then with second kid, like the only time I game right now, the Switch is nice because I can do it in bed at night after the kids go to bed. But otherwise, the only time I get to game is actually on stream. So you guys basically get to see anybody who comes to stream gets to see my game time, which boils down to about 10 hours a week at most, which is a far cry from, I could do 10 hours a day back in college.
Right.
So, having it change through all those situations is just interesting to me. And I know not everybody has the same. You could be in a relationship with somebody who also games. And so you guys are gaming together or even gaming separately, but together. But it's interesting. And especially, like I said, that everybody's story is different. I don't know how it is with you.
Yeah, with my husband, like I said, I stole his gaming laptop. We bought his gaming laptop with his tax return that year. Not that year, but like the year before or something like that. We bought his gaming laptop with tax return, and he was so excited about it. He was able to play his games again, and he started playing because he was very into World of Warcraft at the time. And so like he's always telling me about how many hours he has in the game, and
God, don't tell someone that.
Well, and it's funny because like when I first started dating him, he wasn't really playing a whole lot. Like he was playing a little bit here and there, but like he wasn't playing all day every day, and because he didn't really have time because he was working 2 jobs at the time, and also dating me at the same time. And so he would like go to sleep, go to work, come hang out with me at my parents' house, and then go home and do it all over again. And so I've always seen myself as a gamer. But it was always kind of like I dabbled in games. Like I would play a little bit of games here and I would play a little bit of games there. Like I would play Animal Crossing for a little bit at a time. I wouldn't do what I do now, where like yesterday where I streamed for 10 and a half hours and I played Animal Crossing for 7 of it, and then Dead by Daylight for another 3 hours. Like I just I wouldn't do that back in the back when I was in school, in high school, or at, even after high school. I wasn't really doing a whole lot like that. But then I got my PC last year, and then once I got my PC, my husband also got his own, and so now we both have gaming PCs where we're literally just, I stream, he plays games, sometimes he streams as well, and we have really good internet to the point where we can both stream if we really wanted to. If we really, really wanted to, we could both stream at the same time. And so it's kind of a cool process. Like as I've gotten older, seeing where I've been gaming, like how much I've been. Like I started out kind of small, with watching my dad and my mom and my sister play games while also trying to play along with them, but doing so terrible that they just made fun of me. um, to the point where now I'm playing games and I still suck, but it's still fun.
And that's what matters.
hmm That's for sure. I actually kind of find that's really cool. I didn't know that your wife was that's been the only person that you've dated. That's because that's the same thing with my husband and I. I've never been with anybody else. My husband is the only person I've been with, and we met each other through work. We worked at a
Okay.
diner. I was hostess. He was dishwasher. I would go back there to help him out because sometimes he needed help, and the my boss would always send me back there, being like, "He needs help." Throws me back there, and I would put all the way the dishes. So we started talking about music, the typical things, and then we would talk about some things like Nintendo or something, because that was the main thing that I always knew about. Like anything Nintendo, got you. Anything about anything else, I don't like. So it's just it's kind of funny that I just that other people have the same experience, and like when you get married like that, people kind of have a little bit of a, well, you've never been with anybody else sort of thing,
Right.
and then you're
Like, why
like,
does that matter?
yeah, exactly. You're like, but I found my person. Like I don't see any other like point in this conversation. Like
I
I'm
like
good.
you, but you're the first, so I can't.
Yeah, like like how is that even a thing? So, yeah, I had a few people that were like that. They were just like, this is your first person and you're going to stick with them, and I'm like, yeah. And they even said that after I was getting like when I sent out like wedding invitations and stuff, I was still getting it. And
Oh my-
at that point, I was with my husband for 3 years. We were dating for 3 years before we got married. And today is actually our 4 year wedding anniversary. So we've been together for 7 years. Thank
Congratulations.
you. Thank you. Uh, so it's kind of fun uh, to see how we've grown throughout, because in my wedding we had fandom related things, so we had a lot of things that weren't really gaming related at the time, because we weren't really into the gaming sphere again, where we were just kind of floating. We were more into like watching shows and stuff like that, and watching movies. Now I just don't even have time to do that.
You mentioned the Harry Potter dress. My wife's bouquet was actually made out of pages of Harry Potter books.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I think she got it off Etsy, if
Oh,
I'm not
that's so
mistaken.
cute.
But
Yeah, my husband's bow tie that I was telling you about. My husband's bow tie at the wedding, for those that have no idea what I'm talking about, um, is Howl's Moving Castle related. And it's my favorite Studio Ghibli movie is Howl's Moving Castle. And he we bought that off of Etsy, I'm pretty sure. Somebody put it together and sent that out to us. So that was his bow tie. My wedding was fandom related, and my arch, instead of having an archway, we had a TARDIS as our archway. Because at the time we were really into Doctor Who, and we shared the same favorite Doctor, which was the 11th Doctor. Wow, I don't even know my own favorite Doctor.
wow.
But yeah, we had shared the same favorite Doctor and whatnot. So, yeah, that was a different turn. I started turning your topic from gaming when older to like gaming with a relationship.
I mean, it's not completely disconnected, to be fair.
That's true. They're very similar.
I mean, one usually like what you do in gaming will more than likely change when you do get into a relationship, whether or not it could be more time, could be less time, just could be same time, but with others. I mean,
hmm I mean, my husband is more into he's also more into like board games as well. Um
okay.
And so like board games I think are really cool. I've always had a love for like, the typical ones that you see, Sorry, Life, stuff like that.
Right.
But he gets into like the more like tabletop, like whole ordeal. And I'm just like, I look at that and go, my brain has shut off before you even placed it onto the table.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do this.
Yeah, going through the rules on those kind of things can be tough.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of thinking for me, and I'm okay with thinking, but sometimes my brain just doesn't want to cooperate. So when somebody says something about the rule here, I'm like, but it said this over here, and they're like, no, 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 that doesn't apply because this here, and I'm like, I'm confused and I want to cry.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've done any kind of games like that, but we would usually play through a round going like rule by rule
Hmm.
and until we like, okay, so this happens, this happens, this happens. Okay, we think we're good.
Right. And it's funny because when I tell my husband, I'm like, hey, I'm okay with playing a game, like a board game. And then he's like, okay. And then he has to like look at his board games and then he has to think which one is going to make her not want to cry.
So does he have a group of others that he does like the more complicated games with?
Yeah, he goes out once a week, or every other week or so, where he hangs out with some friends and they play board games. They
That's
play all
cool.
sorts of games. Yeah. So he has his time to play that stuff. That way he doesn't have to try to drag me into it. It's a lot more social interaction than I get. The only social interaction I get outside of streaming is from work, and that's enough for me.
Yeah, it's understandable.
Right? Working with the public, it's just like I'm kind of done with it. Okay, but going off of your gaming when you're older, how has that impacted with your children, like playing games with your children and stuff?
Well, right now they're not really old enough to. I've tried with Lily in the past.
Hmm.
I mean, not recently, but I've literally I have an NES Classic. I was like, plug in. Here's Mario. You can literally run and jump. She just can't seem to understand that you can move and jump at the same time. So she'll go forward and then she'll stop and then she'll jump. And it's like, well, you need to be able to jump over holes. And that's not going to work that way. So as of right now, it really hasn't. That's probably one reason why I don't really get a lot of chances because they're still growing and learning like regular human stuff. And so it's
Hmm.
not really time for the game stuff yet. That being said, uh, something I've mentioned once or twice before, but it's pretty rare. When we knew we were having our first daughter, I actually have a Twitch name that's Dad and Daughter Games, or Dad and Daughter Gaming, with the idea being that I would kind of like stream and chronicle her journey to learning how to play games.
Oh, I
Whether
love
or not I'll
that.
actually use that, we'll see. But that was the idea at the time. She may not end up, liking to play games or enjoy
True.
playing games, and that's okay. The wife always like she's gonna love reading. I was like, if she doesn't like reading, you can't force her to read, or she's gonna hate it even more.
Hmm.
You can't force them to like things. You can only be like, she maybe I'll start playing some when they're just walking around, and maybe they'll be interested in what I'm playing, and then have their own questions as opposed to just trying to force them into it.
Right, right. I feel like that's a
Yep.
good idea to do it too, because like you don't, like you said, you don't want to force them into something that they might not like. Uh,
Right.
William is Dan's son. William was over last month, and he has access to our Steam library. We gave him that access, and we were, monitoring what he can play and whatnot. Um,
Right.
because I don't. I mean,
Dream
I know
Daddy.
that I know. I know that some people allow their kids when they're 14 to play like Dead by Daylight and stuff, but I personally don't really want him to play it, just
Right.
for the toxicity of the some of the chat.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, he was going through the library and he picked Stardew Valley, which is one of my favorite games, and I'm like, you're playing Stardew, and he goes, yeah, and he's showing me all of this stuff about his farm and everything. Like, he played that game all day that day, and I'm like, all right, sounds good to me. I'm gonna just let you do your thing, and if you have questions, go ahead and ask me. I'll tell you anything you need to know.
Right. Yeah. What was I gonna say? So yeah, because I've seen more interest. Like I said, I've given her the controller. I now I ask her first, do you want to try this? Sure. But I've had more interest in her, like when she sees me watching Twitch and somebody's playing Animal Crossing or Pokemon, she'll come up and be like, "What's that?" So I think that's the more like uh, natural way to go about it, is just to see if
Hmm.
they're interest, and then just go from there.
Yeah, watching their interests, see what they're drawn to.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes watching streams is a lot more appealing than actually like playing the game.
Right.
Uh, I know some people, like a lot of people, are kind of burnt out on Animal Crossing. And yesterday I played 7 hours of it for the first time in months. And people were coming in and being like, oh my gosh, I love this. I love that you're decorating or that we're villager hunting. I kind of miss this, but I also don't want to do it myself. So I'm living vicariously through
Yeah.
you. And I'm like, perfect. Like that's all you need. You could just watch somebody and you could just get your gaming juices out from that.
We've got to watch out for the term gaming juices.
True. I didn't know what else to call it.
But yeah, that sounds a lot like it comparable to like Pokemon shiny hunting. Is like a lot of
Mhm.
people don't want to put in the effort, and I can completely understand that.
Mhm.
So watching somebody else do it, conversing with them while just letting them, ooh, I could be here when they get it, is, I think, comparable in that sense.
Mhm. For sure. You want to be there and like actually see somebody get the shiny or the villager that they've always wanted over
Right.
doing it yourself because you just don't care enough for your own island.
Right.
Which
My
is
island is
completely
actually
fair.
gone now.
It's
Uh,
gone?
I told my wife she had a friend pass away a couple months ago, and
Mhm.
he was kind of like, he played with her a lot on there, and he did stuff back and forth, and it's just been hard for her to play it. She
Mhm.
wanted to go back, but she didn't want. She wanted to kind of start over, but she was hesitant to remove her island. I was like, I haven't played in like 4 or 5, 6 months. You can bulldoze my island, and so she did. My
That's so
island no longer
sweet.
exists.
Oh, but still, that's very sweet of you to let her have a clean slate somewhere else and not have to do it to uh do it to her own.
Yeah, my progression with Animal Crossing had been pretty much like New Leaf was. I think I played New Leaf for a year and a half or so, if
Hmm.
that. And then it's just like, instead of playing every day, now you're playing once every 3 or 4 days, and it just event tapers off. And then at that point, I'm just like, I just can't do the daily grind anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of like that with Animal Crossing for sure. And
But it's
a
better for
lot.
those with creative juices. Like, I don't have those
Hmm.
creative juices. I see people like you and what is it, A Forest Life, who would just
Hmm.
have these amazing islands and have all these ideas, and that's just not me. My island was plain
Literally,
AF.
I've seen some people's like mine has been like I've been working on this island for over a year now, and I'm like, oh my god, there's still so much I gotta do. And then like I see some people who are already like redecorated their islands 6 times, and I'm like, how? Like I just don't have the I don't have the creative juices for that. I barely have enough for what I wanted to do. The fact that I decorated for like 4 hours was insane because I never like have the capability of decorating a space on my island for that long. So the fact that I was able to get a few places done and start a villager hunt was really nice. So I'm really excited to actually kind of dive a little bit more back into Animal Crossing because I actually kind of have that love for it again right now. It usually
That's cool.
starts up again in the middle of summer around,
Mm.
and then it goes away and comes back around in the middle of winter. Like,
You like the extreme seasons.
right? I'm just like, okay, like in the middle of summer, I'm okay with just sitting there, because I'm like hot from the heat, and I'm just like, I'll just sit here and play games. Or in the middle of winter, where I can just cozy on up in the middle of 50 blankets and just play some games. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. Mm, I'm thinking if I have any other questions about your topic. Did you have anything else to add to your topic currently?
No, not really. I'm interested to see how things are going. I think gaming has always been a big part of my life, so I think it's never going to go away.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, as the girls get older, I'll probably try to find a little bit more time instead of just having stream time, having my own time to play. Uh, but you never know what life will throw your way.
For sure. I'm really excited to see that happen, like see that grow with your children. It'll be kind of cool to see if that channel comes to fruition and you're able to have a channel with your with your daughter. That'd be really cool.
It would be, yeah. I'd hope so, but again, if it doesn't, it doesn't.
It doesn't, it doesn't. It happens. All right. That being said, let's go ahead and move on over to our Q&A section. If you have not asked if you have not asked a question and you would like to ask a question, there is a channel point redemption at the bottom of the screen on the Twitch chat. You can go ahead and ask questions. They are 10 channel points. If you are in YouTube or on the podcast platforms, obviously you're not going to see that because you're not in the Twitch chat. But if you want to check that out next time, we are typically live on Saturdays at typically 3 p.m. Pacific time, but sometimes that changes depending on certain things. Let me find the button that tells me everyone's questions. There it is. All right. I'm going to make this go away. I have to delete some of these. Okay. Andrew asked, is this thing on? How are you guys doing? I'm doing pretty damn good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm the as the, the old saying goes, I can't complain.
Yeah. When people come into my work and they ask me, oh, I can't complain, I usually say, oh, I could complain, but nobody would listen. Usually when it's older gentlemen, they they typically get a really good laugh out of that one. Let's see. Raven Still Corner, which is my husband. He has asked
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's asked 3 questions. So the first question he's asked is, how did you come up with your name for your content?
I assume just a Titus shot.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so that so for anybody who knows Final Fantasy X, the main characters are Titus and Yuna. At the time, there wasn't they did have voice acting, but in that game they never said his name. They never said Titus, which we found out later in a Kingdom Hearts game that it's actually pronounced Titus. But nobody knew that at the time. I was a big fan of the game. I was in early high school, and we needed to come up with an email name. We were using for the class. We were using something at the time called Batsmail. It no longer exists. It hasn't existed for a long time. But I had to come up with a name, and I had never had an email before. So I couldn't think of something. I was like, well, okay, Final Fantasy related. In Final Fantasy, there's a game called Blitzball, and Titus's dad, his name is Jet. He's a famous Blitzball player. So he had his own shot called the Jet Shot. So I was like, why doesn't Titus have a Titus shot? And I was like, okay, so let me put that together. And then I didn't like having 2 S's there. I thought it looked stupid. So I was like, people are going to just have to understand that the S kind of flows. So it's not Titus Hot or Tidushot. It's Titus Shot. Just all one thing. And I've used that ever since.
I love that. And just I love how you're just like, I want it to be just a flow. Like it's not like straight up like this. It's a nice flow.
It's like, don't say, it's just Titus, and that S carries shot.
Mhm. Perfect. Um it's kind of funny with my name. It's Glamour. Glamour is what most people tend to call me. Um, but sometimes I get someone saying Fae or Fairy. Like Sugar Mama was one of the first people to ever call me Fae, and I'm like, when people call me Fae, sometimes I'm just like, oh, you called me Fae. That's something different. I'm like, should I change it to people calling me Fae? But I like the glamour. I kind of like keeping it that way. And
And you've kind of honored, because you're Fae Fam Talks now, with this. So you've
yeah,
kind of honored the Fae part.
yeah, exactly. And the whole idea is with with Fae, it's like Fae are the magical creatures, where it's like the whole vicinity of the Fae folk. So it's like a community of fairies, typically. Sorry, I'm also burping at the same time.
I was wondering.
I'm like, where is this coming from? But I also just remembered that I've just drank this entirety of this green tea right now. So, okay. And then my husband also asked, do you have a favorite YouTuber that does openings? The Pokemon Go, not Pokemon Go. Sorry, he just got back from doing that. The Pokemon openings, the
uh,
cards.
I don't know if I have a single favorite. I used to watch some of the bigger ones out there. Are Leonhardt, he's like the big one. Uh, there's also Real Breaking Nate, uh, who's out there, and I used to watch them a lot. But they do long videos, like 20-30 minute videos, and I don't have time for all that. So I've actually started going a lot more smaller content creators. Poke Bros, I think right now they actually, it might be over at this. It's probably over at this point. They did a jungle, no, Team Rocket pack break tonight. Where so pack break is where you pay and they open the packs for you on stream and just send you the cards. And Team Rocket is a set from like 2000, well, it's early 2000s, so it's a really old thing. And so they're nice. Catch 'em all 22. Uh, there's one Agile Fox. So there's a lot of smaller ones. Like these are people like 1,000, 2,000 subs on the thing that I enjoy watching. One, because they're shorter, and two, because I think they're more unique than the really large people who do the same things. They have charisma, but they can't hold my attention anymore.
Right, because that's kind of a repetitive thing that you keep saying at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. I'm pretty sure he's asking that because I've been watching him uh watch some YouTubers doing that. So been opening some. But if you wanted to, you could click the little link there, the little youtube.com/Tidushot. You should be able to do that one too, because that's a good one.
Yeah, I do openings as well a lot lately because I haven't been time to edit. I've been doing shorts, so it's literally I'll open a
Hmm.
pack using my phone, boom, 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 done, less than a minute, good. I had one randomly out of I get like 10 to 20 views maybe per. I had one have 1,100 views like 2 weeks ago, and I'm just like,
Oh my god.
I'll never understand the algorithm for YouTube.
Seriously, it's kind of the same thing with the algorithm with TikTok. It's the same thing. 1 second you just post one thing, and then all of a sudden you've got a bunch of views on it, and you're like, I, what, huh?
And it's a video that's near identical in title and content to one
Mm-hmm.
before and after it, but the the views and interactions with it are completely different.
That's so funny. Um, that actually kind of brought a question in my brain. Have you done TikTok with those?
I have not. I haven't touched TikTok, honestly. I didn't know if I could do anything. My work has actually banned any device that has TikTok on it.
What?
Uh, yeah, well, I don't know if you remember a couple months ago where people were saying like it was like owned by like the Chinese like government, or I think Tencent or
Yeah,
something is
um,
big stake in it. So they're worried
yeah.
about like being spied on and all that stuff. So uh, you know, so they banned it on any device in the office. Uh, so I
That's
don't have it on
funny.
my phone regardless. But I've seen TikTok, but
Mm-hmm.
mm, It probably would help, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just another thing. I got
I
Instagram
know.
recently, and I barely touch that.
Oh, don't even bother with Instagram anymore. It's garbage at this point.
Is it?
Yeah, it's something that has been something that we um they just recently kind of announced a new feature that they're going to be coming out soon with, and it's going to be very similar to TikTok. So it's like them trying to Instagram typically tries to mimic whatever big social media platform is doing. So Instagram was at the time trying to be like Etsy and do a lot of shopping sort of aspects, and then turned into a TikTok sort of thing where they do a lot of videos, short videos as well. They have the reels, they have the stories, and then they have like
Right.
shopping things. It's just Instagram is kind of just becoming a place where you can just kind of be garbage at this point. It's kind of pointless. Plus, getting content onto Instagram and bringing people on over to your Twitch channel, if that's where you're trying to get people to go to, it's very difficult to get them to come over.
It was
Um,
more for the Titus shop, actually.
yeah.
So
So
getting people,
it
hey,
works
I have
for
cards.
shopping wise. So that it would probably work for the shop, obviously, because that's where they were heading towards. I don't know if that's still where they're headed towards, because Instagram is just really weird at this point. They just kind of bouncing all over the place. It was just an article I read a couple of weeks ago uh, that I had
Gotcha.
seen, as well as their announcement that they had done that I saw on Twitter. Um, but yeah, sorry, off topic.
No, you're good.
And then this other question says, "What got you into collecting cards? Was it Pokemon, or was it another card game that brought you to collecting?"
So collecting goes back way back to the early Pokemon where I did buy and collect. Uh, I, a sad story I like to tell is that I used to go to this pawn shop and they'd sell Pokemon cards. I bought a pack. I got a Charizard. I immediately sold that Charizard back to the pawn shop for like $25-$30 to buy more packs, hoping I'd get good stuff, and I got all crap. So it's a sad story because of how much Charizard is worth nowadays, and the fact that
Right.
I had one, and like literally within 5 minutes it was out of my hands, and my little
Oh.
brother was with me and he was sad.
Oh
He was,
no.
but yeah, I did that, and I did a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day, and then I sold all of them going off to college. Another sad story because who knows how much that stuff in that binder is worth now. Uh, and then it wasn't until not last year, but the year before. So it's been almost 2 years when this set called Hidden Fates came out. And that's when I started watching YouTubers opening it. It's like this set was like amazing. People still are after it. It's got a bunch of amazing cards. And like I said, started watching YouTube, started watching more YouTube, and then just I would buy things here and there. I bought a lot of Hidden Fates and never got the shiny Charizard.
Mm.
And it just kept evolving from there, where I just buy a little bit every time, not going too crazy. And then we got to the shop, and now I just, instead of going out and buying stuff, I keep one or two things from the distributor for myself, and then sell the rest.
Nice. Nice, nice. I love it.
So yeah, and it's just Pokemon right now. The Yu-Gi-Oh thing is long long gone, and
Yeah.
I've never dealt in Magic or anything like that. I know a lot of people are getting into Digimon, but I have no idea how that game goes, or I've never seen the cards in store either. So
Mhm. Let me tell you, my husband's collection of magic cards. That's why he asked that question. See, I can tell you the reasons why he asked these questions because I know he has a very large collection of magic cards, and I'm like, he's asking to see if if you got. Oh, because of Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay, well, you know, you know. So, Brain. Okay. If anybody else would like to ask any other questions, it is down below in the channel point redemption if you would like to ask anything. Um, otherwise, because I believe we have 6 available right now, but anything that you guys would like to ask, go ahead and ask them now. That would be the time to do it.
Speaking directly to Yu-Gi-Oh, I have ability to order Yu-Gi-Oh, but because I don't know that many interested,
Hmm.
I don't order it. So
Right.
you need a hookup, Raven? Just let me know.
um, right, right. Um, God, I was gonna ask a question that had to do with this. Um, I feel like it had to do with the social media platforms again. I'm very large. Like my brain is like very like I know things about certain social medias and how certain people grow from them. So it's something that I'm always kind of thinking about.
Mm.
Uh,
I'm very bad with
and
the social media. I,
I'm
I
terrible at them, but I know
I
how
forget.
to do it.
I'm not even sure I know how to do most of them, especially when it comes to Instagram. You get to those stories and stuff. It's like, how do I even interact with this? But
Mhm.
Twitter, half the time I forget to tell people when I go live, and
Mhm.
I try to get better about it, but then I forget, and it's a thing. So yeah, social media is not my strong point.
It's a lot of people's it's not a lot of people's strong points. So I understand that. I don't tweet all the time when I go live. I don't know if it was because at first when I was doing it, when I was streaming, I didn't tweet when I went live because I just was like, I have 50 followers. None of these followers really gives two craps about me streaming. So why would I go ahead and, you know, but now I kind of do it once in a while where I feel like if somebody wants to like check it out, and I already know what I'm streaming, then it's perfect. If I don't know what I'm streaming beforehand, I don't even post. I'm like, because there's some times where I'm just like, I don't even know what I'm doing today. I'm like staring at my screen going, one of these games will pop out at me and I will play that game. Which is why I tend to go to Dead by Daylight, because it's like the first one that I'm looking at going, I could play some killer games, or, you know. My love for DBD is just a lot larger than I thought it was ever going to be. Ever.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd come back to it honestly. I played like 2 years ago or so for a little bit, and just stopped playing, and then it just in the last 4 or 5 months it's just really picked up again.
Mm-hmm. It's so strange because like I watched other people play it and I'm like at first I was like, oh my god, why would you play this game? This is kind of weird. And then I really enjoyed watching it. And then one day I was like, I'm gonna buy it. So I bought it and then I stared at it a little bit longer. And I didn't play it for like another like I think 3 or 4 weeks before I actually played it. And I played one game, got scared, and it
I've
wasn't
heard
even
that so many
because
times.
of the killer or anything. It was the anxiety of the fact that there are three other people who are playing with me who I don't know, who are um going to get mad at me because I suck at this game.
The
And at the time it was without the console, um what's that word? Uh
crossover or the
yeah,
crossplay.
the crossplay. There we go. It was before the crossplay, so I knew that they would be able to chat with me because they were PC players. Um, and then I played again a month later again, and when I played it, it was I I was playing and I DC'd on accident because of something that happened with my internet. My internet just shut the game down completely, and I was just like, they probably think that I'm terrible because I DC'd. How dare I? Not like it's something I could have like actually do anything about, but it's a thing. All right. It seems like nobody has any other questions. That being said, switch to the scene. Perfect. Okay. Um, I do want to thank you. There we go. I do want to thank you for being on the podcast and agreeing to be on it, and then agreeing again for me to push it a week because we were supposed to go live last week.
Oh, I completely understand. It's no big deal, and I had a fun time. It's interesting to be on the other side of the mic.
Oh, I'm sure. That's kind of how I felt too when I first started, because I'm always watching, like your podcast. I'm always watching it. Like I was watching this morning. I was lurking in there, and I'm just like, this is kind of cool to like watch somebody else do it, and then like I'm doing it again later today. It's just and I've picked, as you can see, some of the things that I do. I've picked and chosen some things that I liked that you had done, and had brought into my own, kind of like the
And done it better.
Q&A. No, 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 no.
I said it, not you. It's okay if I say it. I believe it.
Oh my goodness. Well, I appreciate that. I really do. I mean, coming from the person that I've literally gotten the inspiration to do the podcast in the first place, like I was just like, this was a really cool idea. I really want to do that too, and I wanted to talk to more people. So
Right, and that's the thing is like getting to know people that I wouldn't necessarily get to have those in-depth conversations with is a big part of why I do the podcast specifically.
and like I would have never known that your relationship was the only relationship you had ever been in, and had the same, you know, connection, because same thing here. So
Right.
I would have never known that because it's not something that I would have asked you.
Right. It doesn't
It's
come
just
up in common Twitch conversations.
no. um, but yeah, that's really cool. I appreciate you so much for being here. If you guys are in the Twitch chat, I did just post the guest command. If you do not see it because you just came in here at the very end, just go ahead and do !guest in the chat, to kind of check out all of the links for Tidushot's platforms. If you are in YouTube or the other podcast platforms, they are going to be in the description below. We're just gonna move on right over it. And thank you again for being on here. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys, and we'll see you guys next time. Love you. Bye.